welcome to the third video in this series looking at creating a content management system. So we're now going to be looking at editing records. So we're getting into the CRUDing, which is the creating, reading, updating and deleting. So this is going to look at the updating. Reading we've kind of already done, that select statements, but we're going to be looking at the SQL update statement in this video, and the further two we're going to be looking at inserts, which is creating, and deleting, which is deleting. Okay, so we are continuing the lab files for PHP MySQL Part 2 for building a content management system. So previously we had built a search results page and we were able to drill deeper, and what we're now going to do is look at building a content management system. So on any given page you'll find there's a login and password. These aren't secure. You can just click on login and it will take you to this CMS folder, and specifically the CMS page. So in your file structure, that is in CMS here, and it's this CMS page here. And this is designed to just list all of the films in the database to allow us to edit, delete, view them, and to add a new one. So by browsing straight to that page at the moment, I'm getting errors. It's saying undefined variable PHP data object, PDO. So that implies that we haven't loaded the connection file in here. So let's do that. So we'll load in as an include, includes con.inc.php, as we did in the previous two movies. And we'll also load in our functions, which are in there for user inputs, sanitization and validating. So I'll stick those two in. So now let's see if we then publish this file, whether that makes any difference to those errors. I'm hoping we'll get another error this time, which we are doing. So I want to show this one very common error where it says fail to open stream. It's trying to load that connection file, it's trying to load that functions file, it can't find them at that location. So the issue here is that I'm in this CMS folder, but my include is up above that in this includes folder. Previously we were going down from the likes of index and details into includes. We're now out here in CMS, so we need to come up a level and then down into includes. There's other ways to do this, particularly if you at the root of the server, but in our instances, in our case on the Hallam home pages, I'm just going to put in .. in both those instances, which will take me up a level in the file structure and hopefully lead me to the correct file. So let's just try this now. So I'll just go back with those amendments in and refresh. You can see there we go, we're getting a list of all of the films in our database. So this nice little feature, this is just using Bootstrap. Just a little mention about something that's you can do. There's a table here which has got the loop inside it, so all the films are getting a row there with an edit, delete and view option and the name of the film. Bootstrap, you can do nice little things like say class equals table, so there's a label class in the Bootstrap framework, which is a CSS HTML framework, so that's just going to make that look a little bit more presentable, like so. And indeed there's a stripe, table striped class as well that you could choose to add to that. Excuse me, which will give us nice stripes to make the table a little bit more easy on the eye. So let's check that out now. There we go. So that if you're interested to investigate how all that's done, it's using Bootstrap, which is a HTML CSS framework that you could have a look at. Right, so what I want to be able to do here then is I want to be able to make these clickable, so I'm interested in editing one of these. I can click on edit or delete or view and see which one and then I can proceed to edit it or delete it or just look at it. So these are going to use the query string idea that we previously saw in an earlier movie. So in the PDF, we're going to add a series of hyperlinks. This just means it can't fit all this on one line. So we've got a hyperlink to edit, a hyperlink to delete, a hyperlink going back up a level to delete, which is higher up in the file structure. And in each case, it's going to take the film ID as a query string with a particular value for that film listed. So let me just put that into the PDF, into the current document. Basically, I'm replacing these three here. At the moment, they're just outputting the text. So replace those with these. Let's get rid of these characters here, just in there because I couldn't fit that on one line. So do the same here and here. Make sure we get rid of all that white space. So we've got 3 hyperlinks, one to edit, one to delete, one to details. Let's see if those have behaved as we would hope. So move those across to the server, refresh, and we've now got a series of hyperlinks. So that's going to take us back up to the view page, back up a level. This is going to take us to edit, which isn't working just yet. This is going to take us to delete, which isn't working just yet. So the next thing to do is sort out what's behind this edit hyperlink. Next thing to do is to fix this edit page. So click on the edit page, it's taken the primary key with it. It's not doing anything exciting there, so we need to add some bits and pieces to our edit page. So there's already the SQL query in there, and this is very, very similar to the details page which was covered in the previous movie in this series. So because it's going to take a primary key and it's going to query the database with a view to then populating a form with the current values for that particular film. So then we could choose to edit them and submit them and update the database. So we've got a HTML form with different value, different fields in, film name, image, film price, and the values are coming from the database. So it's very similar to the details page. So what I will need to do is bring in my connection and my includes file as we did on the main CMS page, and then we could have a look at that now and see if that is going to work for us. So let's just move the files across, and when we refresh we can see that the current film information is read into those fields. So if I went and picked another film, you can see it's passing the query string and it picks up those values and they get dropped into the fields accordingly. So it's using the same idea as the details page from the previous movie. You query based on the primary key, and those values are then, rather than just being displayed to read, the values have been dropped in as the default values inside of a form. Okay, so the next thing to do would be to, if we made some changes, we'd want to submit this through to a process to edit it. The important thing to do is make sure that we keep track of the primary key. Now I don't want to add the primary key in as a field that may accidentally get edited, so I'm going to use a concept known as a hidden field. And what I'm going to do is inside of that HTML, I'm going to add a hidden field in. Let's get rid of this silly character here, and it's using the primary key value and not displaying it to the user, hiding it, but it is inside the form. Given it's got a name, that will get submitted with the rest of these form fields to this location here in order to edit the result. Okay, so let's show you what that would look like. So when I click through on any of these, it takes the primary key, and we've now added it as a hidden field so the users can't see it. But if I right click and inspect and go to elements and just dig around in here. See, there's the prompt for the hidden field, and there's a hidden field ID value of 5. So when this form is posted, which is the next action, to this location here, it's going to send the film ID along with the film name, film image, film price, all the other fields that could potentially be changed there in that form. So the next thing is to have a look at this edit record and to see what we would need to place inside of there. To recap then, the edit page is going to post some data to this file here. So in process, we have a file called edit record, and this is going to do the actual updating of the database. So what this is going to do is run an SQL statement for us. So first of all, let me collect the connection file and the functions. Now a little bit further down the rabbit hole here, so as well as including them, these two that we're going to use, we just need to go back up an extra level because I've structured this in such a way that process is inside of CMS. We need to go up 2 levels to load these. Then we're going to sanitize all the inputs as we did in a previous movie. So in the PDF you will find that there is these here. So this is making a safe film name, safe description, image, price, running them through these functions, these helper functions that were created in a previous movie in our functions include here. So we've got safe in, safe string, safe float. It's going to help protect our data from cross-site scripting. So let's place those in our edit record file. So I'll put these in the correct place like so. Just lay this out a little bit nicer so you can see what it's doing. So there's lots of it there, but we did it before in a previous lab. Just move that up there so it makes sense. And then we're going to build the prepare statement to run the query and do it in such a way it protects us from SQL injection. So what we want to do is we want to build an SQL query that is going to look like this. Update movie, set film name equals some value, film description equals some description, price equals some price, where some film ID equals our primary key. So these will be placeholders inside of our SQL prepare statement. So the first thing is we'll build the SQL prepare statement like so. Now I'll format that again a little bit nicer because it's quite happy for me to space this out. So you can see I've got an SQL update statement there with all the different fields that are in the form where the film ID equals the film ID. So notice the colons here, these are all placeholders. Placeholder, 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 placeholder. So we then need to bind those values in, which is what the next section will do. So first of all, we're going to prepare this statement, tell our database get ready to run this query, and then we've got a series of bind params as featured in a previous movie. So that's the placeholder that relates to this field here, and we said it's our film name from there. So we make it safe, we should check it's a string, and then we bind it in to that placeholder there, and then we repeat that process for all these other fields in the that we're using. So we should end up with another bind param there. That's our description. Then we've got our image. Then we've got our price. So although this is a number, it does go in as a string because it's a float. Then we've got our review. That's the score for the film review, whether it's a 0 to 5-star film. And then we've got the film ID, which is the primary key. So we should end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 placeholders for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fields that we're binding in to our prepare statement. This is all about protecting you from SQL injection. If you want to learn more about SQL injection, there's a really good video by this guy here, whose name I've forgotten, Tom Scott, of course. Just a nice little introduction to SQL injection if you want to know what it's about, but this is what will protect your application from SQL injection. And finally, before we redirect away, once we've bound all these parameters in, we need to execute the query itself. So I'm just going to tell the statement to execute. So we call the execute method of our PHP PDO prepare statement. So then let's just redirect away. So we want to now leave this space. I don't know why that's not letting me pick that up. Right, so let's put the redirection back in once we've finished. So it will take us back to the CMS page. Right, so what I should be able to do now, once this is published, is we can edit a field. So let's call it Fargo 2. We update it, and you see that's updated it there, in there. Edit it again. Let's change it back. Update it. It's changed it. So our code is this process file that we're landing at. We're receiving these values that are posted in. Have a look at how we posted in the appropriate video chart, which is linked to the bottom, and then we make these safe. We sanitize them again. Have a look at the relevant video for that. We build an update SQL statement using a prepare statement, it's binding these values in, and then we're just going to redirect back out to our CMS, our front page. So it's a quick way to test whether it's actually worked or not. Great. Okay, so that's the edit done. The next movie, number 4, is going to add a brand new film into the database.